The better that you could be in conversation, whether that's being more likable, more charismatic, more confident, the better your life will be. Whether you're at a networking event or you're trying to get a job or you're just speaking to a family member or a friend, in each of those scenarios, you will be more successful if you have better people skills. I've had experience in the wealth management division of a global bank where I've been surrounded by people with some of the best social skills in the world, because often the difference between you winning over a client or losing that client can be based on your people skills. So I'm not going to waste your time. I'm going to jump straight into 5 key tips that will make you a better conversationalist. The first tip to being a better conversationalist is just to have fun. Now, I used to really treat conversations like it was an interview, where the questions I'd be asking were really serious and boring, like, oh, what's your job, or what do you want to be doing in life? And I realized when people are at a party, they just want to have fun, you know, or if you're meeting up with friends at a dinner, they just want to have a good time, you know, and people don't want to be answering these boring questions. And I realized you could have fun with it too when people are asking you questions. You can purposely misinterpret the question, you can over exaggerate when you give your answer, you can lie a little bit. A quick example where I did this a couple of weeks ago. I was going to a mate's birthday party from university, and both me and my sister, we knew this guy because we were all at the same uni. Now, my sister couldn't make the party because she had an exam, and I knew when I was at the party, the first question people will be asking is, you know, where is your sister? How come she's not here today? And instead of just giving the same boring answer of, oh yeah, she's got an exam and da 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 da, I made sure to purposely misinterpret and lie a little bit and just say, oh, she's had a falling out with the guy whose birthday it is, and yeah, you know, they're not talking anymore, and yeah, it's really awkward because I've caught myself in the middle, and just whatever, yeah, just make things up, have fun with it. And after all, you can tell them after a couple minutes, oh, I was only joking, and they'll start laughing, whatever. They'll be like, oh, I really believed you and whatnot. And when I was doing that, I was having fun, the other person was having fun, and I wasn't treating the conversation like it was an interview. So the first tip to being a better conversationalist is to just have fun. The second tip is to plan answers to some of the common questions that you get. I bet you get the same boring questions all the time in small talk. You know, how's work? How's your studies? How was your weekend? How's the family? And because these questions can sometimes be so boring, I bet the answers that you give back are sometimes quite boring as well. But when people ask these questions, they usually don't really care about the question itself. They are more time just saying to you, they want to hear something interesting. Tell me something interesting. So if you're able to plan a little bit more exciting answers to these standard questions, you'll be much more fun to be having a conversation with. An example where I did this recently was when I came back from traveling in South America. I knew everyone would be asking, how was South America? And in some ways that is such an open, boring question. And so I could have come back with some standard boring answers like, yeah, the flights were long and the weather was amazing. But instead, I took literally just a minute to think about what I actually found more exciting from my trip. And so when people asked me, I said, in Colombia, I met Pablo Escobar's real brother, and in Brazil, we went to a Halloween party where it was on a boat and all these people were wearing all these costumes and stuff. And it just meant that my answers to this standard question of how was South America was far more interesting. And this doesn't take long. All you've got to do when you've got a spare minute and you're driving in the car or you're in the shower, just say out loud some answers to some common questions that you know you're going to get, and it will just mean that you'll be far more engaging in conversation. So the last tip was about you giving interesting answers. This next tip, tip number 3, is about you asking interesting questions. Now, people love nothing more than speaking about their interests and speaking about themselves. So this tip is very simple. It's just about finding what the person is interested in and asking questions on that thing. And I'll tell you, word for word, all you need to say is, do you like X? It could be something that they're talking about. It could be anything. Do you like this? And in the worst case scenario, if you ask them, do you like this? And they say no, there's always ways to move around this. If they say, oh, I do this for work, and you ask them, oh, do you like your job? And they say, oh, nah, I hate my job. You can still get them to speak about their interests by saying, oh, if you had £1 billion, what would you spend your time doing, or what would you enjoy doing instead? But the key to this tip is getting other people to speak about their interests and what they like. Tip number 4 to be better in conversation is for you to laugh more easily. Now, with this tip, I'm not suggesting that you fake laugh or just put it on, because people are way smarter than they're given credit for, and they can tell when you're just doing a haha like that. They can tell that you're fake laughing. All I'm saying is when you actually find something funny, don't just laugh in your head, actually just laugh out loud instead. The benefit that laughing has is it just lightens up the mood and people feel better when you're laughing, a bit more at ease. If you're someone who finds it difficult to laugh, what I sometimes like to do is before going out or speaking with people, I'll literally just think of something funny in my head, like a funny moment in my life that I know is guaranteed to make me laugh. And literally, as I'm thinking about that in my head right now, it makes me smile, it makes me laugh. So just think of a couple things like that in your head and you'll find it much easier to laugh when you find things funny. Before I go to the final tip, please like and subscribe. It really does mean a lot to me, and it also means that you'll get more useful videos like this on your algorithm. Tip number 5 to improve your conversation skills is to be a better listener. Now, sometimes people who are really good in conversation don't need to say anything at all because the other person really likes it when you just listen to them. My favorite tip that I like to give for being a good listener is to treat the other person's words with absolute importance. A mindset that I have for this is I genuinely imagine that I'll get a £1 million prize if I'm able to repeat back every single word that the person says to me. And this mindset just forces you to listen really carefully to what the other person is saying. I've made a whole video on how you can be a better listener and we'll link it right over here at the end. I want to end by suggesting you to just take 1 minute right now to act on one of the tips from today. All you got to do is find the nearest person to you right now. If you're at home, it could be someone in your family or someone you're staying with. If you're in public, it could just be a complete random stranger. And all you got to do is apply one of the tips that resonated with you most from this video. Maybe you can ask an interesting question that you know the other person will enjoy answering, or you could just have fun with it and just purposely misinterpret what the other person is saying. Whatever it is, please just make sure to act right now. It will just take 1 minute, and you know that if you don't act right now, you'll probably never do it and you'll just go into another video and forget. So just take 1 minute to act on one of your favorite tips and you will be much happier and more successful.